We're going to start on our backs today. So, come to lie down on your back. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Bree. This is a 45-minute vinyasa class. So, take breaks if you'd like, amp it up if you'd like, and do your own variations. At the end of the day, this is your practice, and I'm simply here as your guide. So come down, lie on your back, get grounded into the earth, and start to settle into your breath. You can do a couple of different things with your legs, or if you have a block, grab it, and you also have the option to place a block underneath your shoulder blades to open up through your heart. If you don't have the block, don't worry about it. It's not a huge thing, but it does give you a nice subtle opener. So if you are using the block, bring the block to the bottom tip of your shoulder blades and bring your arms to a cactus or a T. And you'll kind of, once you get down, be able to fidget around to make sure that you feel comfortable. And then what you're doing with your legs could depend, right? A wide angle is really nice, a Baddha Konasana shape. But if that feels a little too opening for you right now in this moment, you could bring your feet wide and knock your knees into more of a constructive rest, or just stretch your legs out long. Take a few moments to ground down into the earth. Feel yourself breathe. And force more breath into the back of the body, into the block behind your shoulder blades. Begin to open your mouth, let go of any breath in your lungs. HA. Inhale fully through your nose. Exhale completely through your mouth. HA. One more full breath in. And a full breath out. Close your legs, roll off onto one side if you have a block on you, and move that block out of the way. And then re-ground your back on the earth. Stretch your right leg high towards the sky. Interlace your hands around your right thigh. Press your thigh into your hand and pull your thigh back. Create some circles with your toes in one direction if you want to warm up through the ankle. And another option is possibly stretching your left leg out long on the mat to stretch a little deeper through your hamstrings, through the backs of the legs. And now from here, walk your hands up the back of the calf. Maybe lift your shoulder blades off the mat, bow your head towards your shin. Then lower your shoulder blades back down, bend your knee, cross your knee over your body, find a spinal twist. Root your right shoulder blade down as you stretch your your right hip across the body. Breathe, and breathe more breath into the right side of the body. Melt your right shoulder blade down with each exhale as you stretch your right hip over towards the left corner of the mat. And then really simple, just come back through center. Ground both of your feet and stretch your left leg high. Interlace your hands around your left thigh. Create some circles through your left toes. And if you did so on the other side, straighten your right leg out long. Stay strong and engaged through both of your legs. From the pelvis, expand out long through the bones of your legs as if your heels were growing taller. And then begin to walk your hands up the back of the calf, lift your shoulder blades off the mat, bow your head towards your shin, and then reground your shoulder blades, bend your left knee, inhale. Exhale, roll to the outside edge of your right hip, ground your left shoulder on the ground. And breathe. Inhale, unwinds, come back through center. Pull your knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little momentum and rock your way up to a seated position. When you land in your seat, have your feet stretched out or lengthened, but a bend in your knees. Inhale, reach your right arm high. Exhale, bring your right hand to the outside edge of your left foot. Press your foot firmly into the hand, and at the same time, pull your arm back. Find a little bit of a cat spine or flexion through the spine. Breathe into the back of the body on your inhale. On your exhale, release. Second side, inhale, reach your opposite arm up. Exhale, round, bring your hand to the outside edge of the opposite foot, your right foot. Now press like you're accelerating on the gas pedal with your foot into the hand and pull the arm back, inflate the back of your lungs, inhale. On your exhale, release. Send your legs off to the side and come to a tabletop position. Now when you land in your tabletop, spread evenly and wide through your fingers. Pull back through the fingertips, root down through the perimeter of your palms. Inhale, lift your tailbone up. Melt your heart, find cow spine, extension of the spine. Subtly tug your hands back towards the knees. And exhale, round. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Press your hands into the mat and puff up behind that back body. Cat spine. One more like that. Inhale, lift your tailbone, melt your heart. Cow spine. And exhale, round to a deep, full cat spine. Come to a more neutral position and start to create some barrel rolls with your hips in one direction. And take those barrel rolls with your hips in the other direction. From here, come to a more neutral tabletop. Stretch your right leg out long. Point your toes down, and then just bend your knee. Inhale, reach your left arm out long. Take a breath in. And exhale, reach your left arm back to grab for the right foot. Actively kick your foot into your hand. Melt your heart. Press the shoulder blades onto the back of the ribs. And if this doesn't feel accessible to you this early on, you could work with just holding your hand towards the foot, or even grabbing for the big toe side. That might feel more accessible to you. And one more breath. Kick your foot into your hand as you melt your heart. Inhale. And exhale, release without slingshotting. And unwind. Come back to your neutral tabletop. Second side, stretch the left leg out. Point your toes down. Wrap that left hip down. And lift your leg up from the strength of the inner thigh. Reach your right arm out. Bend your knee. And then reach up and over. Try to grab for the pinky toe side of your foot. If not, grab for the big toe side and kick your foot into your hand. Now your your arm that's supporting you, we want to pull that left shoulder back into space and stay stable through the four corners of your hand as you kick your foot into your hand. Breathe for 3. 1, 2. 1, release. Come back to your neutral tabletop. Bring your toes together and your knees either hip distance or wider. Bring your forehead to the mat and land in a child's pose for a moment. Join your hands at a prayer. Lower your elbows down to the mat. Bend your elbows and bring the prayer behind the skull. Breathe. And as you breathe here, take a moment to turn inward. Go to your internal world. And breathe more breath into your back body here. To the places that are often unseen and unheard. Reach your arms forward and rise up through a tabletop. Walk your knees back, tuck your toes, and lift your hips up to a downward facing dog. Now in your down dog, pedal it out. Push one heel down and then the other. So stretch to the backs of the hamstrings, the thighs, the calves. When you look up at your hands, you should still have that same tabletop hand alignment. Check in with your foundation every time you come to a new posture. And then when you look at your feet should be at least hip distance apart. But if you're tighter in the backs of the legs, you could play with going wider through your feet. Actually, let's do that. Everyone go really wide. Spread through your toes.
Actively hug your outer shins in and keep a little bend in the knees. Send the tops of your thigh bones high to the sky. Keep a little engagement through your belly so you have a nice long spine. From the back of the heart, press down and out through the arms. And from the back of the heart, keep lifting all the way up through the spine, out the hips and down, and stretching the heels towards the earth. Maybe they'll never touch, that's okay. From here, grab for the outside edges of your physical yoga mat, so really holding them rather than placing your hands on the mat. Lift your shoulders up, maybe bend your knees a little more, and send your hips higher to the sky. Press your shoulder blades onto the back of the rib here. Wrap your outer arms, your triceps down as you melt. Reground your hands on the mat. Start to walk your hands back until your heels land down. Keep going. Send your hips really far back into space. So far back that the toes get really light. Look at the feet. See that the outside edge of your foot is lining up with the long edge of the mat. Keep a micro bend in your knees. If the earth feels far away, place a block in front of you. You can go the medium setting. You can even reach your hands on the highest setting. This is different than a forward fold. It's a functional forward fold. So the hips are way back behind the heels. All the weight is in the heel, so it's really loading the back of the body, your posterior chain. And think of it as like a hinge. The hips go back in one direction and up. And the crown of the head is going forward and down, not just down. Inhale, halfway lift, glide your hands up your shins, find the length, lift your sternum. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet, glide your hands up the shins, up the thighs, all the way to stand. And bring your feet a little closer together, but still slightly wider than hip distance. Bend your knees a little bit, bring your hands down to your knees. And we're gonna do some spinal undulation. So inhale, get lift through your heart space. And exhale, kind of come down like you're sliding your hands down the shins to a forward fold. Inhale, start to rise up, find spinal extension. And exhale, take it down. And so as you move through these spinal movements, stay engaged through your glutes, keep a subtle bend in your knees, and allow yourself to just wave through the spine. And breathe in and out through the nose. And the next time you rise up, straighten out through your legs and come to a standing position. Step your feet back to hip distance apart. Spread evenly and wide through your toes. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, grab your right wrist. Take a little side bend over towards the left. Tug on your wrist. Inhale, come back through center. Switch your clasp and take the side bend the other way. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, cactus your arms, lift through your heart space. Inhale, engage navel towards spine, reach your arms high. Exhale, twist, bring your right arm back, left arm forward. Inhale, circle your right arm down, come back towards center. Exhale, bring your left arm back, right arm forward. Keep sending your left hip forward as you pull the right hip back. Inhale, come back through center, reach up. Exhale, cactus your arms, lift through the heart. Inhale, reach your arms high. Exhale, sink your hips down and low to a chair pose. Your tops of the toes or the tops of the feet should be visible in your chair. So think hips go down and back like you're actually sitting in an imaginary chair. If you don't feel your glutes much, drive your heels down into the mat and tug them out a little bit without moving them. Inhale, grab an imaginary pull-up bar with your hands and pull that pull-up bar down. Cactus your arms. Inhale. Then exhale, send your pull-up bar high, sink your hips low. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, reach it high. Last time, exhale, cactus. Straighten out through your knees and your arms. Inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Come all the way down to a forward fold. In your forward fold, bend your knees as much as you need. Interlace your hands behind your back. Lift your shoulders up and drop your hands up and over the back body. Squeeze your shins in. Send your upper inner thighs wide and apart. Breathe.
Release your hands. Start to crawl your hands all the way out until you land in a plank position. Press the earth away in your plank. Tug your forearms towards the midline. Engage so your legs lift your skull just a touch. So in your plank, again, you don't want to be sinking too low in your hips, and you don't want your hips to be high. You want them to be roughly in line or slightly lower than your shoulder blades. Lower your left forearm down and your right forearm down to a forearm plank. And then take it to a side plank. Send your heels towards the left. Reach your right elbow high towards the sky. Lift through your hips. So you're making a nice big arch through your spine. And you'll see that in my side plank, my thumb and my pointer finger are touching. That's not necessarily. You could just cactus your upper arm. Reconnect your forearms to the mat. Send your heels towards the right. Lift your left elbow and forearm up. Again, lift through those hips. You could stack your feet if that feels okay for you. Come back to forearm plank. Lower your hips down, Sphinx pose. Pull your right heel towards your sit bone. Reach around with your right hand to grab for your foot. You're going to grab for the big toe side and flip your grip. Face your fingertips forward if possible. So it simultaneously opens up your shoulder and your thigh at the same time. Keep both of your hips heavy on the earth. Slowly release. Second side, pull your knees in. Pull the left heel towards your sit bone. Reach around with your hand to grab your foot. Actively kick your foot into your hand as you pull your heel towards your outer hip. Deep breaths in and out. Slowly release your foot. Soften your chest down to the mat. Bring your hands by your chest. Energize through your legs. Press the tops of the toes down. Lift your shoulders up away from the earth. And inhale, rise up to a cobra pose. Now you could keep it low or you could bring it really high, yogi's choice. Pull those shoulders back. Tug your hands back towards the hips to help you open up through that heart space. Exhale, release, lower down. Keep that same energy in your legs. Inhale again, rise up. Bhujangasana, cobra pose. Hug your shins in. Exhale, release. Last time like that. Inhale, rise up, cobra pose. When you're up this time, find a lateral glide. So just kind of slide your shoulders or your vertebrae back and forth as you shimmy your shoulders. In Rasa Yoga, we call this the Rasika Bhujangasana. Slowly lower it down. Bring your arms to a cactus shape. Walk your right hand fingertips in towards your face and take a little shift over towards the left hip. Roll over to the left hip so you're stretching through your chest. Plug your left shoulder bone in to the socket as you stretch here. And then come back towards center. Take it the other way, opposite elbow lines up with shoulder and roll onto the outside edge of the opposite hip. And breathe. You could lift your skull here to create a little more stretch through the neck, or you can lower your head and let your neck relax. Come all the way back through center. Bring your hands by your sides. Come on to tented fingertips engaged to the legs. Lift your shoulders up and inhale, lift up through your chest, your head, your arms. Last thing that lifts is the legs. Squeeze your shins in towards one another. Use the inhale to give you a little bit more length and lift, and hold that length and the lift when you exhale. One more breath in. Lift up through the heart. Squeeze your pinkies towards one another. Everything's hugging towards the midline. Exhale, release your left ear to the mat and breathe in. And breathe out. Interlace your hands behind your back. Let's go right thumb on top. And inhale, start to lift through the head, the chest, the legs. Keep your neck in line with the rest of the spine. As you lift your interlaced hands up, keep a micro bend in your elbows. One more breath here. And release right ear to the mat. Breathe in. And breathe out. Bring your hands by your chest. Press your way up through a tabletop. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up to a downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Push one heel down and then the other. Stretch through the backs of your legs. Inhale and reach your right leg high to the sky. Exhale, bend your knee and open your hips. So squeeze your heel towards your sit bone. Lower your right forearm down to the mat. Your left forearm down to the mat. And crawl your right hand fingertips out a little bit on your mat. So you're kind of in like this funky three-legged dog. Press your left shoulder blade onto the back of the ribs. And maybe create a circle with your right knee in one direction. Snap, crackle, pops are normal. Take that circle with your knee in the other direction. Reground your right hand, lift your left elbow off the mat. Inhale, straighten your leg and square the hip. Wrap your right hip down. Exhale, pull your knee towards your nose. Round. Plant your foot in between your hands. Come onto fingertips or blocks and straighten out through your right leg. Pull your right hip crease back as your left hip crease wraps forward. Breathe. Pull energy up from the earth, through the foot, up the back seam of the leg and into the pelvis. From the pelvis, send energy down and out through the legs. Maybe bow your head towards your shin as you stretch energy out long through the spine, out the crown. Inhale, bend into your front knee. Bring your back knee to a little bit of a hover. Pull the heart through. Exhale, straighten and fold. Inhale, halfway lift, find length. Exhale, bend into your front knee, squeeze your legs. Ground your left hand on the mat. Pivot your back toes pivot your back heel down to the mat and bring your front foot halfway down. Reach your right arm way in line with your ear. Pull your left shoulder back into space so your left arm is really ready to support you. Inhale. Exhale, lower your hips down. Bring your right arm down to the left leg. Inhale, lift your hips up as much as you can. Think nice big arch through that lower side body. Exhale, release, and the hips can go down as much as you'd like. Last time, inhale, lift up, horizon lunge, and exhale, lower down. This time, lift up, find some stability, maybe even ground the whole left foot down and take a version of side plank. So I'm going to go for tree side plank. I'm grabbing my foot and putting it towards the inner edge of the thigh, but you could stagger your feet. You could lower your left shin down for a little more stability in the side plank. Take one more breath wherever you're at, and then come to a plank pose. Option to let that right leg be lifted for a one-legged plank. Half push-up, lower your hips, pull the heart through cobra or up dog. Tuck the toes and lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale, reach your left leg high. Exhale, bend your knee, open your hip. Lower your right forearm down. Curl your left hand fingertips out just a little bit. And push your right shoulder blade onto the back of the ribs. Create some circles through your left knee in one direction. And take those circles to the left knee in the other direction. Straighten out through your left leg. Square your hip, lift off of that left, or ground your left hand and lift off of the right forearm. Exhale, pull the knee towards the nose. Plant your foot in between your hands. Start to straighten out through your left leg. Pull your left hip back as the right hip wraps forward. Connect to your breath in these moments where we're a little bit more still. Engage to the left side of the belly, pulling up and away from the thigh. And breathe. Inhale, bend into your front knee. Bring your back knee to a little bit of a hover. Pull the heart through, cow lunge. Exhale, straighten and fold, cat lunge. Inhale, cow lunge. Exhale, straighten and folds, cat lunge. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend into your front knee. Ground your right hand. Pull your right shoulder back. Pivot to the outside edge of your front foot and bring your left foot halfway down the mat. Lift through your hips and your left arm. Inhale. Exhale, lower your hips down. Bring your arm by your side. Inhale, lift up, get length. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, rise up, get that length. Exhale, last time, lower, sink it in. Inhale, lift up. Find your version of side plank. You can lift the leg. Just really focus on what's going on in your upper body here. Think cactus through the upper heart. And see, I just fell out of it. That happens too. Your foot's there to stabilize you. For one more breath, inhale. Exhale, lower your left arm down. Find your side or your normal plank. Maybe float the left leg. Shift your shoulders past your wrists, half push up. And pull the heart through, up dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale, come high onto your tiptoes. Exhale, take a deep bend in the knees. At the end of your exhale, hop, step, or float your way up to a forward fold on your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, fold. Press into the mat. Inhale, circle sweep, reach your arms high. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, sink your hips down to a chair pose. Inhale, pull your left heel towards your sit bone, cactus your arms. Exhale, sink back to chair pose. Inhale, right heel to sit bone, cactus. Exhale, chair. Inhale, just keep pulsing like this. Same heel to same sit bone. As you cactus, you're going to go through 3 rounds. Keep using that ujjayi breath as a power to focus. And once you've done all 3 rounds, land back in your chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, sink your hips really low. Spread through your right toes. Pull your left knee in towards your chest. One-legged Tadasana. Bring your hands to your heart. Start to shift your trunk forward and send your left leg back into space. Create a micro bend in your knee. And step the left leg back. See that your feet are hip distance apart, so if you look like you're too much on a tight rope, then just heel toe your front foot over towards the right. Squeeze your legs and rise up. Crescent lunge. In your crescent lunge, sink your hips way down. Inhale. And exhale, join your hands at Hakini Mudra. Bring Hakini Mudra slightly in front of your eyesight, but higher up. Hakini Mudra, all of your finger pads are touching with a gentle bend in your knuckle joints. Inhale, breathe into the back body. Exhale, twist towards the right. Take one more breath in. And exhale, twist towards the right. Hook the left elbow outside of the right thigh. So you have this big, deep twist. Press the tricep and the outer thigh into one another to help you revolve. Stay engaged through your legs. Pull your front heel back and your back foot forward. Option to expand out through your arms if that's in your practice today. Reconnect your hands at a prayer or Hakini Mudra and inhale, unwind to warrior 2. Pivot your back heel down on the mat. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Bring your back hand to the back thigh. Reach your right arm high as you generously bend into the front knee. Exhale, take it to side angle. Bring your elbow towards your thigh or your hand down to a block and reach your arm way in line with your ear. Option to bend your elbow, bring your hand around to reach for the opposite shoulder blade. Now notice what's going on in your legs here. A lot of times we bring most of our weight into the front leg. Push more energy into the back leg so you can evenly distribute your weight. Press your back thigh back into space as you wrap your right torso underneath you. From the left hip, stretch down and out through the left leg and lift up and long through the left torso, out through the left elbow. Inhale and reverse your warrior. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Bring your hands down to your mat And pivot on the back toes. Bring your right hand to the inside edge of your right foot. Lower your back knee down, lizard lunge. Use your right hand, press your right thigh bone away from you. And then from here, engage through your back leg, pull your heel towards your sit bone. Reach your right arm forward, thumb facing up, and reach up, up, up and around. Thumb is still facing up to grab for the pinky toe side of your foot. Twisted monkey. If it's really hard for you to make contact, you can work through active range of motion, just pulling your heel towards your sit bone and releasing. You could also play with backing your hips up to make heel to sit bone contact and then sinking your hips down. If you need more depth in this posture to really feel it, you can also play with coming down onto your forearms or your left forearm. Find what works for you. Breathe. Slowly release your foot. Bring your hands underneath your elbows. Lift off of your back leg, plant your hands, and step back to a plank pose. Either flow through your vinyasa or just send your hips up and back to a downward facing dog. Breathe. Reconnect to your Ujjayi breath. Inhale. Come high into your tiptoes. Exhale, take a deep bend in the knees. At the end of your exhale, hop, step, or float your way up to a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, get length through your spine. Exhale, fold. Sink your hips low. Inhale, reach your arms up to a chair pose. This time, bring your feet a little closer to touch. Check how that feels. Inhale. Exhale, find tiptoe chair. Bring your arms behind you. Lift your heels off the mat and squeeze your shins towards the midline. Inhale, lower your heels, reach your arms up. Exhale, tiptoe chair. Hands come behind you, squeeze that midline. Inhale, lower your heels, reach your arms up. Last time, exhale, tiptoe chair. Inhale, lower your heels, reach up. Stand down into the left foot. Pull the right knee in towards the chest. Join your hands at a prayer. Moving towards warrior 3, but more as a transition rather than as the full pose. So start to tilt your trunk forward. Give your left leg as much of a bend as it needs. And stretch your right leg out as long as you can once your torso is parallel to the earth. Bend into your left leg a lot to step back. Once you land your foot, look and see that your feet, your foundation, is hip distance apart. Press down into the earth and rise up to a crescent lunge. Bring your hands to that Hakini Mudra. All of your finger pads are touching. Press your finger pads into one another. Feel the chest start to light up. Breathe. Maybe you sink a little deeper into your crescent lunge. Send the back thigh back into space. Inhale, breathe into the back of the body. Exhale, twist towards the left. Inhale. Exhale, twist towards the left. Last breath in. And exhale, twist and bow. Hook your right elbow to the outside edge of the left thigh. Allow your neck to just kind of follow what your spine is doing here. Maybe release your arms. Maybe shift your gaze and look up if you feel okay with your balance. Reconnect your hands. Inhale, unwind. Come to warrior 2. Pivot the back heel down. Set up your alignment. Front heel lines up with the middle of the back arch. Inhale, flip your palm and reverse your warrior. Exhale, take it to a side angle, elbow towards your thigh. Reach your arm way in line with your ear. Right away, if you went there last time, reach for the opposite shoulder blade. Connect to your breath. Keep wrapping your left torso underneath your right. From the pelvis, stretch down and out through the legs and up and long through the spine. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, come down towards the earth. Pivot your back heel off of the mat. Bring your left hand to the inside edge of your front foot. Lower your back knee down. You can use your left hand to widen your left thigh bone away from you. Lizard lunge. If twisted monkey doesn't feel accessible for you, you could stay here in lizard lunge or just lower your forearms down for a deeper version of lizard lunge, or reach your left arm forward and then pull your heel towards your sit bone, thumb facing up to grab for the pinky toe side of your foot. And breathe. Slowly release your foot, bring your hands down, and step back to your plank position. From here, lower all the way down to the mat. Bend your knees and grab for your feet. And now we're going to go towards Dhanurasana bow pose. But if that's a little too deep for you, you can take the Shalabhasana variations that we did earlier. Otherwise, grab for your ankles or the feet. I like to flex my feet away from me, so you can try that. You don't have to do it that way though. And then rock your weight back onto your hips. As you kick your feet into your hand, naturally more weight's going to come onto the hips. Bow pose. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards one another and press your shoulder blades under the back of the ribs here. Breathe. As the weight tries to bring you forward onto your belly, keep kicking your feet into your hands to get you that kind of rock back onto the hips for 3, 2, 1, and release. Lower your right ear to the mat. Release your feet. Windshield wiper through your legs. And then release your legs out long. Bring your hands by your chest. Press your way up through a tabletop. Shift your hips back to a child's pose. Toes together, knees wide, forehead to the mat. Thread the needle. Weave your right arm through the left. Find a little shoulder stretch. Press your right palm into the mat as you tug the left arm back into space. Breathe. Unwind. Come back through center. Weave your right arm through the left. Find the shoulder stretch on the other side. Come back through center and rise up. Then make your way onto a seat. Stretch your legs out long on your mat and come to lie down on your back. Once you arrive on your back body, cross your left ankle over your right knee. Pull your right knee in towards your chest. Interlace your hands around your right thigh or shin. And breathe. Flex your left toes back towards your ankle. Begin to release your hands from your right thigh. Keep your figure 4 legs how they are. Bring your figure 4 legs over towards the right. Ground your left foot on the mat. You can use your right hand to grab your left ankle or shin and send the left knee high towards the sky to help open up through that hip space. As your breath begins to tone down, come back to that inner space in your heart. Check in with how you're feeling since you've moved and breathed and did a little heart opening in your practice today. Engage through your obliques, come back through center, second side, cross your right ankle over your left knee, pull your left knee in, interlace your hands around the left thigh or shin. When we move and we breathe in our body, this practice of yoga, asana, postures, it's meant to quite literally move stagnant energy out of our body so that there can be some sort of shift. And hopefully that shift can be for the greater. But maybe not always. Sometimes moving and breathing your body can open up pathways for emotions that have been pent up inside of you to open up and finally release, which doesn't always feel good, right? Not all emotions feel good. That doesn't mean that they are inherently bad or good. They're just emotions. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, bring your legs over towards the left and ground your right foot on the mat. Bring your left hand to grab for the right foot and send your right knee away from you. Inhale, come back through center. Unwind through your legs. Pull your knees in towards your chest. Create some circles with your knees in one direction. Rewind, take those circles with your knees in the other direction. Pause, kind of check in, see if there's anything else you want in your practice today. Maybe it's another back bend, maybe it's a counter pose, like a plow pose. Plow pose sounds nice, we'll try that. Lift your hips up, bring your hands behind your back to your sacrum or the low back, and allow your legs to kind of dangle or even touch the ground above head. If this feels like too tight in your body, then you can always come out of it. Work to untuck your chin from the chest so the neck has a nice little natural curve. You could interlace your hands behind your back like I'm doing. And then slowly, vertebra by vertebra, roll your way all the way out to a shavasana shape with your legs extended out long and your palms facing high to the ceiling. Let go of any breath in your lungs. Inhale fully through your nose. Exhale completely through your mouth. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go of any constriction of your breath and allow yourself to rest in Shavasana as long as you'd like. Namaste.